Welcome to Travel in Style, a podcast created to inspire travel, have fun, and give you a unique perspective on how to do all of the above through the eyes and lens of travel expert and award-winning photographer and publisher, Jill Pater. Jill has worked in over 100 countries on assignment and has published 15 books on architecture, design, travel, and gastronomy. Today's show is brought to you by Calpac, a lifestyle luggage and travel accessory brand. To find out more on Calpac, you can visit calpactravel.com, and to find out more on Jill, you can visit jillpater.com. Welcome back to Travel in Style. I'm your host, Kevin, along with my co-host here, Sam. Sam, how's it going today?
It is going well. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Okay, so today, Sam, we are going to be traveling to Chile and the Atacama Desert.
I love
We will obviously be taken there by our resident travel expert, Jill Pater. Jill, how's it going today?
It's going great, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, Jill, what made you choose this part of Chile?
This is a very unique part of the country. So as we know, Chile is a very long and thin country. So
Right.
getting from north to south takes some effort. I recommend visiting both of those parts separately if possible, just because they're very different topography, terrain, and climates.
Like two different trips?
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah. I think ideally so. So the Atacama Desert is one of the most beautiful deserts in the world. And this particular part of the world, there's so many, it's a great adventure, explorer type place. There's so much to do in terms of trekking, so many beautiful natural landscapes to see. It's one of the best places in the world to stargaze. And it's a very, very unique vacation to take.
So how remote is it? Is it, I mean, because it's a desert, but is it tough to get there? Is it tough to get around while you're there?
So you typically fly to Santiago, the capital. So you're flying down into Chile, and then you fly up to Calama, which is the main airport for San Pedro de Atacama. It's about an hour and a half drive from Calama Airport into the small town San Pedro de Atacama. And it's a super cute town, very petite. Dirt roads, all the adventure travel tours are there. There's a couple of restaurants, there's hotels, but it's a very kind of small place. And then from there, you have literally like hundreds of miles of desert and things to explore.
Yeah. So how long were you there for?
I was there for about 9 days.
9 days. And was it like humid? What was the weather like at the time of the year that you went?
I went in December, and the weather, it was absolutely beautiful. It was perfect. It was
That's kind of their summer,
dry.
is it? Southern Hemisphere or no? Is it-
Yeah, but the Atacama Desert is fairly north
Yeah.
in part of Chile, so they're not totally southern
Sure.
hemisphere. So it was perfect. It was pleasant temperature during the day, got a little bit cooler at night.
Just like
And
a
dry.
desert would.
Yeah,
anyways.
dry as you would
Okay.
imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so I was doing a little research. They have high quantities
you.
high quantities of copper and quartz. So how did that kind of project into the people? Good vibes, good energy.
Super
That's
good
such an LA
vibes. I love
question.
that, yeah.
Like, did the quartz really make their vibe?
I'm just wondering.
No,
Asking for a friend.
Yes, yeah, asking for a friend. No, actually, that is a great question. It does have a great vibe, that area. I mean, it's just a very unique part of the world. And on the show, we've been to Namibia, and we talk about kind of how that desert is so open and expansive.
Right.
And this one is similar in that regard, although many more people and travelers visit this particular area and trekking. But it does have a very unique feel to it, for
Okay.
sure.
So when you go to a place like this, are you going for work? Because I feel like you've gone to a lot of cities where there is great architecture, but this is a desert. So did you go to shoot stuff, or were you just there kind of for your own pleasure, for fun?
A bit of both. So while I was there, I shot landscapes. There's also some great high-end hospitality that I shot as well for a book that I was working on. And then a big part of it was pleasure as well. But the landscapes there are absolutely stunning. The hotels, you have a lot of options, everything from hostels to B&Bs to very high-end hotels. So there's a pretty big mix there.
Where did you stay?
I stayed probably at what would you consider a mid-range hotel. It was
Okay.
very nice, little palapas and great service, great, just really nice, excellent hospitality there. Everything is kind of set up for tourism. So San Pedro de Atacama, the town, it's a tourist town. So everybody
Okay.
there,
They
they're geared
expect-
up for
Right.
you and ready to take you out.
So because it is kind of a tourist town, like what are the people like? Are they I mean, just a desert town or a desert region. I'm just never
Yeah.
sure what to expect from the people. Are they lively? Is it a great culture? Very, are you able to kind of submerge yourself into it?
Yeah, so the people there are super, super friendly. Because it is touristy, you have a mix of people from all over the world. It's definitely caters more toward adventure travelers, so it has that feel to it. There is some nightlife, but that's definitely not why most people are there. They're
Right.
usually kind of using it as a base to do some of this other like great adventure travel in the region. It just has a good feel. It kind of caters to, I would say, slightly more experienced travelers tend to go there again because usually on people's bucket list, there's certain places that come first,
Right.
and a lot of people go to Patagonia first, so south of Chile, before they'll go to northern Chile. So this is kind of like tends to be a more seasoned traveler, although you definitely don't need to be to visit the
Yeah.
place by any means. But yeah, adventure people who want to be out
Right.
hiking, doing things.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what are some of those types of adventures? Because if you are that more, adventure, outdoorsy type and you would love to go here, what can they expect to maybe see or get into?
So they have like a lot of Jeep drives and things
Yeah.
that you can do, and they're basically like taking you out to different parts. So probably one of the top sites there is Valle de la Luna, which is Moon Valley,
Wow.
and you go up to a hike. You usually do some stargazing at night, watch the if it's a full moon, that's obviously an ideal time to be there. But a lot of it is about trekking and kind of hikes through these different areas. There's Salar de Talar, Red Rocks, Death Valley, geysers. So it's a lot of just like these beautiful
These
natural land
natural, yeah.
formations. Laguna Colorado, which is absolutely stunning. That's actually it goes into the border across from Chile into Bolivia. So it's just these like kind of amazing, out of this world different aspects of the
Right.
landscape, and there's usually some element of like trekking or hiking involved. It's not super steep, or you don't have to be an expert hiker or
Sure.
anything, but it's more about being out and about in the desert.
Yeah.
Or go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna. What was the adventure? Your favorite adventure while you went? Like, did you do hikes and trekking?
I loved Valle de la Luna, the Moon
Mhm.
Valley. Yeah, I did.
So do
I
you
did
hike
all
at
of them.
night? Is that
Yeah,
how
so
that
you're out
works?
with a group. So you go with a guide, obviously, and you're hiking up. And I think I was there. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was either full moon or it was a special time. And the stars there, because there's no pollution, there's no cities, there's no lights,
They're
there's no
just so
traffic,
bright.
are so bright and
Right.
so low. And so they kind of do this whole, astronomy lecture and tour and
Mhm.
stuff outside. And so you kind of hike into this canyon and then hike back out.
Yeah.
That sounds beautiful.
So I'm assuming that kind of the topography and landscape, that's what really makes Chile special and unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Chile has so much varied landscape because the country literally runs the whole continent of South America. So you have so many things from, Patagonia in the south, which is very, very different, into Santiago, into their wine region, and then all the way up north where San Pedro de Atacama is, completely different.
Right.
So you can have, such drastically different experiences within the same country.
Yeah, that's wild. So where you were you able to find good cuisine, good food?
Yeah, the food, I wouldn't say it's the number one highlight,
Right.
but there's certainly very good food to be had. It's, again, everything's kind of more catered to adventure travelers, so it's a little bit rougher and
Just much
tumbler
like
than
energy bars
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, we have no, yeah. No, we
Right.
don't have the Michelin star restaurants, but that being said, very good food. Obviously, Chile is known for its wine,
Mhm.
so you have access to amazing wines, and because people are hiking, they're not so much partying late at night. But
Are they known
I'm
for
sure
their sea bass? Like Chilean sea bass?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Oh my Yes, you debunked it. All right.
right.
Yes.
There you
I
go.
knew
Yes,
it.
you got
I
it.
knew it.
That wine makes sense. So you're like
Yes.
hiking all day. You're not trying to get trashed at night because we're trying to
Right.
get up early in the morning and
Trying to keep it together for
Right.
this one.
right. So
Right.
the wine, that sounds
That's
incredible.
your challenge. I'm sure that's your challenge. is
Yeah.
Did
being
you
able to
have
get up at 5 in the morning.
did you have a lot of traditional like cuisine while you were there? Anything that you tried for the first time?
Not so much that I've tried for the first time because I had been to Chile before.
Okay.
But it's always great getting back. Like I love Chilean red wines in particular,
Mhm.
and where I stay, they put like a lot of traditional dishes together, and so they, the hospitality there, the hotels and B&Bs do the best they can to give tourists kind of a taste of it.
Yeah.
Being that it is a smaller tourist town and not, it's not Santiago where you have all of those culinary options, but
Yeah.
certainly very good food to be had.
So cost-wise, is there a difference between like the north and south region, or just like in Atacama in general? Like, how is it? Is it budget friendly or?
I think it can be budget friendly again because it's a slightly smaller airport that you're going to within the country. The international flight might be a little more difficult to get, say, a deal on, but once you're there, there's tons of budget options. You have lots of backpackers that go there, on to people who stay at Relais and Chateau hotels.
Right.
So there's literally something for every budget. And doing a lot of the adventure tours, it's very, very reasonable.
Sure. So is Chile? I mean, is it a place you'd go back? You know, because it does sound like it's very kind of specific. Like if you want adventure, if you want that, would you go back for pleasure, or would you shoot there again?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my favorite country in South America,
Wow.
hands down.
Wow.
Yeah. One of the most beautiful. And Chile is a little bit different socioeconomically than the rest of South America. It has a, higher lifestyle, so
Sure.
to speak, higher, income levels. And so it just has, political and social refinement that you don't see in all aspects of South America. In fact, when you cross the border into Bolivia, it's immediate, that you see a huge difference in infrastructure, even dealing with the authorities and other things. So it's a very, it's much more refined in a lot of ways and very easy to travel, much safer. Chileans are super friendly and super helpful. So it's really a nice place to visit.
Yeah.
And I think, it's rare that you find places where you do have that spectrum of budget in terms of, people that can go there and stay in hostels, like, traditional backpackers, all the way up to like some of the top
Super nice,
places in the world. And so I think that gives it some credence too. You have, people
some
who just
room.
love to travel and get outside.
Yeah. I mean, I now thinking about this, because this particular place is like more adventure, right? And then we've kind of traveled with you to a safari and then to a beach, city. And so I can imagine your packing situation is a bit different for this particular trip. How did that differ with your other trips?
Sure. So this one was very easy in the sense that everything you're doing, you're not getting dressed up. There's nowhere fancy to go at night. So you need a pretty basic set of clothes, like kind of similar to the safari packing, like cargo pants, lightweight tops, things to change out, something at night when it gets a little bit cooler. So a lightweight jacket, but very, very easy to pack for. And again, most of the resorts or hotels will have some type of laundry service. They're used to taking care of that type of thing for guests. So very easy to pack for. You don't have to get ready at night. You don't have to.
Dancing,
Yeah. There's
Sam's probably not going to go.
It's
Dang
more,
it.
it's more adventure gear. Having the right shoes, like having good hiking shoes, is important.
This is kind of on and off topic though. Since you've had so much experience in different kinds of terrain, do you have your set of like, these are my particular hiking shoes, these are my safari shoes, these are my walking shoes, and how do you like, how did you do a lot of research in those particular kinds of like that kind of gear?
For this trip, I did, make the mandatory trip to REI.
Yeah, I was thinking.
And get outfitted for it and
Right.
got the shoes. And when I say adventure, I don't mean to make it sound like you're climbing Kilimanjaro, because it's really
Spelunking.
No,
not.
I literally
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, okay.
it's not like that at all. It's very, for the most part, it's low grade
It's like
hiking.
Runyon Canyon.
Right. Yeah.
Very
gosh.
similar.
Oh,
I
okay,
get
in
it,
that
yeah.
case.
Hiking in LA. No, it's relatively low grade hiking. I would say it's the type of activity most people who are mildly healthy can easily do. But because it's desert landscape, you want hiking shoes. So yeah, I went to REI. I got a couple of things. Just things that are like quick drying pants and tops and things that are easy to mix and match. But the shoes are important. Having
Yeah.
good walking shoes anywhere you go. And
Right.
so I do have hiking shoes, and then I do have shoes that I typically wear, like my day-to-day shoes when I'm in other cities, because even in major cities you need to be comfortable. You're walking probably 8 times as much as you normally do at home,
Yeah.
and all day.
Yeah.
So having the right gear is very important, especially if you're going to these places kind of off season or during extreme temperatures, and you need technical gear to kind of get you through.
Yeah.
So when you're at home and you're thinking, where do I want to go next? What country do I want to visit? Where do you, what inspires you to kind of seek out destinations like a Chile, right?
Mhm.
Because it is, I mean, where you went, it's a lot of desert. What kind of goes through your mind when you're thinking and planning forward to a trip?
Well, I think I keep kind of a portal of all of these, places I want to go. I'll just collect things from magazines, or I'll be, at the car wash looking at something and, rip it out of a magazine. Online, you see, documentaries on a certain place. And so I have kind of a list of places that I want to eventually go to. And then I kind of start lightly researching them and just figuring out when's the best time to go here, what kind of cost can you expect. And then, as I have free time in my schedule, or if it pertains to a particular shoot I'm doing, then I start kind of diving in a little bit more and figuring out, is this the right time to pull the trigger on that particular trip?
Yeah. And then it gets real, because then
it gets really
and then
real.
you're
And it's
there.
And then you have
always
to go.
Right.
and I have to say, it's always a little bit like even still. It's always a little bit scary, like pulling that trigger. You're looking at a place and you don't one of the biggest questions I think is always safety, and
Yeah.
because safety influences cost for a trip in many ways.
For
So
sure.
if it's not safe, you need a driver, or you need security, or you need more infrastructure around you when you travel. So that ups the price quite a bit. And so you look at that, and then, kind of some of the other factors. But every time I book a trip, I still kind of have a little bit of, nervousness and anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, is this, did I do the right thing?
Is that the same for destinations that you've been to before?
No.
No.
No,
If
that's
you've gone
easy.
somewhere, you're
Yeah.
pretty comfortable going back. Yeah.
Yeah. And because you're primarily a solo traveler, so being able to have those accommodations to make you feel comfortable are really important, right?
Right. And having, safer places to stay, like
Yeah.
particularly, I was in parts of the Middle East, and, where they don't see a lot of solo female travelers. So those are places where you'd almost exclusively stay at 4 or 5-star
Mhm.
hotels just to have kind of that extra protection. Whereas other places you can kind of get away with, staying anywhere.
For this particular trip, did you travel solo?
I did.
And so how was transportation? Like,
So transportation super easy. So, everybody is kind of going to this destination. Everyone that kind of comes into that airport is going to this particular destination. So the hotels have all have
Okay.
arranged pickup. So that makes it very easy. And then once you're there, there's probably, I don't know, 20 to 30 different tour operators, all different kinds. So like a lot of small groups that will take you out in a Jeep. So it might be like 2 or 3 people in a Jeep. The town is really set up for this type of tourism. So it was very easy to go there as a solo traveler and kind of book into different things. And there was nothing I felt like I couldn't do because I was alone, or that felt weird because I wasn't with a group.
okay.
It was actually a great place to go, I think, as a solo traveler.
Yeah, and I can imagine you're meeting people along the way. If
Oh,
people
yeah.
are doing, these adventure-driven
Absolutely.
things.
And you're with people all day, so you're going out to these different locations, and so it's a really nice way to meet people and
Yeah.
other travelers, and everybody's kind of coming from a different part or have done other things. So you also share a lot of information on, what to do next or where to go.
Yeah.
Any surprises
Hmm.
in Chile? Yeah. I mean, I think it just sounds like just that complete kind of, I don't know if it's culture shock, but right, it's just coming from, southern Los Angeles, going all the way down to Chile, like in a desert, right? Like it just seems like it would be very different.
I think the surprise there was just I knew it's a beautiful place, but
Yeah.
the natural beauty is like off the charts. It was such a cool place, and and there was an element of it being so easy to travel, like so easy as a traveler to find everything you needed to find to kind of get to all these different places that you wanted to get to. And so I think the ease of it was a surprise. I wasn't expecting it to be that easy, and two, just like the natural beauty. It was just like kind of off the charts,
Right.
and we'll be posting images on the Destination CalPAC site, so you can judge for
Well,
yourself.
I'm definitely excited for that stuff to go
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
because I think it really kind of help paint that picture. You're giving us tremendous insight to these places, but to see them come to life, right? Because
Yeah.
they are so just so amazing in the way that you are able to capture it. Being a professional photographer, definitely excited to kind of see what they look like.
And especially with travel now, I mean, most of the places people go, they're heavy tourist destinations. So to be able to go somewhere where there is such a natural landscape and be able to kind of experience a slightly different type of travel, I think is a gift, because there are few places in the world like this where it's so beautiful, it's so safe, but yet there's the infrastructure there to do it.
Yeah.
You still have nice hotels to stay at. You don't have to like pitch a tent.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
so that-
incredible for listeners to know so that they don't feel intimidated.
Right. And
You
that
know?
perfect kind of juxtaposition of, comfort, like having a level of infrastructure and, a level of natural being.
right.
So like things are there that you need, but it's not overrun with tourists.
Yeah.
Sam, I hear a drum roll coming.
I hear it as well.
You know what time it is.
It's time for Jill's packing hack. In this case, I know a lot of people, like myself, kind of bring like a mini little emergency pharmacy along with me just to kind of be sure that I have everything that I need. Is that the case for you, Jill?
Absolutely. I recommend always bringing your little pharmacy, so to speak, with you in your rollerboard on flights, just to, in case you get sick on the flight, or in case, oftentimes you'll get migraine headaches because you're dehydrated, or, headaches, or also just things like no jet lag pills, which I find very helpful. It's just it's a naturopathic.
That's the name, right? No jet lag pills.
Literally,
Not
yeah.
Like,
I was
bring,
gonna
like,
ask.
don't bring,
Yeah.
bring them, but
Thanks.
they're called no jet lag pills.
Yep, that is the brand, no jet lag pills. And those I find very helpful, especially for those extended flights. I always have Advil, ibuprofen with me as well, again, because of the dehydration issue, especially if you like to drink on the plane. It's a good idea to just
Like to dabble with
movie.
the Chilean wine.
Right.
Yeah.
To get you.
And then
Sure.
vitamin C and zinc. So before I leave for a long trip, especially something that has a long, flight associated with it, taking vitamin C a couple days before, a little bit of zinc, just kind of boosting your immune system before you get on the flight.
Go, like to a totally different region.
Right.
Yeah.
And get on it.
Awesome.
It's always a good way, especially when you're not, if you have a hard time sleeping on flights, or you have a hard time adjusting to time zones, just giving that your immunity an extra chance to kind of recharge is always a good idea.
Great. Well, Jill, thank you once again. It was great to go through Chile with you. So appreciate your time. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And please listen in 2 weeks for another episode of Travel in Style. You can learn more about Jill Pater on jillpater.com, and to read more about each destination, please visit Calpac's blog, destinationcalpac.com, for Jill's tips and amazing photography. Find more about our podcast, Travel in Style, on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud. If you enjoyed this show, please subscribe, rate, and send us a nice review. Happy travels!